This episode of Homemade was previously recorded in front of a live stream audience who asked questions and cook along during the show. If you love cooking and want to join us in the kitchen, visit homemadecooking.com to register for free live classes. Now, let's get cooking. Happy Thursday, Homemade community. I hope everyone's doing okay. Tell us in the chat where you're coming in from, how you are doing today. We don't care. If you're having a sad day, let us know. We hope to cheer you up. If you're having a great day, awesome. Pick up the rest of us. That's what we are all about here at Homemade. I'm so grateful that you're here. If this is one of your first classes with us, welcome. If this is one of your millionth classes with us, welcome. I'm Joel. I'm the head chef and founder here at Homemade. And today I'm going to be your instructor, your teacher, your Yoda, your guru of these stuffed shells. We have Chef Kat in the chat. Chef, what's up?
What's up, Chef Joel?
Are you a big ricotta stuffed shell fan?
I'm a big pasta and cheese fan, so yes.
Yeah, any pasta and cheese. Let's just be real for a second. Me too. This is such a great one. All right, first step to the best stuffed shells you've ever had in your life is the shells. Now, there's a lot of small shells at the grocery store. You want the big puppies. These are the ones that are about the size of your palm. All right? And they'll swell and they'll kind of drink up all the pasta water. So I've got some pasta water, a big pot. One of the biggest problems I see when people cook pasta is they don't have enough water. They try and shove all this pasta in just like a little pot because they don't want to do the dishes or they don't want to stand there long enough to really get the water in there. But you got to have a big, big vat of water. And then I'm going to go with a nice big pinch of salt. You absolutely do not need olive oil. That is a old wives' tale. And we're just going to kind of go with a couple handfuls. I don't think we need all of them. We're going to let those boil for about 12, 14 minutes, depending. I always give them a little stir just so they don't stick together. And there we go. We're going to let those go. Now we're going to make the easiest little homemade tomato sauce. So I've got kind of a Le Creuset little easy ceramic pan on a medium-low heat. I'm going to turn it up just a little bit. And then I'm going to start with an onion here. I cut off the bottom. I already cut off the top. You make sure it's sitting flat. I cut it in half. I'm going to tuck my fingers back and not cut all the way through the onion, just most of the way through into little strips. And then I kind of bring the onion back to my belly button and I cut with my hand off the board. And then we just cut this down into a little dice. You're always left with these little butts. You can try and chop them up, or you can freeze them and put them in your stock. All right, so I'm starting with a little onion and some olive oil, and we're starting just to kind of lightly caramelize that. You can add a nice pinch of salt over that. And we're gonna add celery and carrot. And, you know, sometimes you would just add onion and then tomato, but what's nice about the carrot is it brings in the sweetness. So it really adds that natural sugar, and that's why when you see all those, you know, tomato sauces at the grocery store loaded with sugar, just I wonder why they don't just put a carrot in there. But I'm gonna kind of slice that up and then that into little finger bits here. And then we kind of line those up like little soldiers, and you want to kind of tuck your fingers back here and go really small. You almost want this carrot to kind of melt away in the onion. All right, next up, celery. Again, you want to keep it really small. This I kind of tuck between my fingers, cut this into a little strip, and then you just chop these through. And again, keep them small. So celery, carrot, onion. We've got mirepoix happening, guys. One of the most classic combinations because it's so well balanced. The recipe doesn't call for this, but I mean, I can't not put garlic into tomato sauce. So you can put garlic in, you don't have to put garlic in, but the way that we would do it in Italy is you almost want to cut little coins versus chop it up for something like the sauce. So you just want to, they're going to go in, and the reason why we don't pulverize the garlic or press the garlic is because we want like a light, fragrant garlic versus like an overpowering garlic. Cool. All right, so we're gonna let this kind of toast up for a bit. So at this point, my mirepoix is really soft. My garlic is starting to get really fragrant. It looks great. It's not caramelized. It's just kind of lightly sautéed, right? And it smells just beautiful. It smells like home. So then we're going with some crushed tomatoes for this, right? Or pureed tomatoes, sorry. Crushed are the ones with like little cubes. Pureed is the ones where it really just looks like a Bloody Mary. I've got a cup of sauce going in, and you just kind of stir that through. All right, so we're going to bring that to the boil, and then we'll turn it down to a simmer. But a couple little tips here. Number one, we talked about basil. So I've got some basil here, and I did this for you guys. I kept some of the basil that looks a little sad, and you can kind of like bash up the stem, and that opens up the oils in your basil. And then you just want to lay the stem, and we'll fish that out later, into your sauce. And that's just going to fragrant your sauce, make it beautiful. As you know, when we talk about Parmesan, I want you guys to go find the Parmesan that has these stamps on the back. If you find a block of Parmesan and it doesn't show this, it's not Parmesan. It's a ripoff. This is how you know it's from Parma, Italy. Yes, it's expensive, but you don't have to use as much of it because it's so flavorful. So what I want to do is I want to cut off the rind. Okay, again, not in the recipe. So cut off the rind. Ooh, I'm not letting that cheese go to waste. There we go. So you have this beautiful rind. You can freeze these, whatever you want, but I'm going to toss this rind into my tomato sauce. And again, I'm not going to eat that rind, but that rind is going to give it just this really intense, salty, beautiful, milky vibe that nothing else really compares to. So at this point, we have the basil stem, we've got the rind, and if your sauce starts to look a little bit, less saucy than ideal, grab a ladle, get in some of that starchy pasta water, and use that to kind of thin out your sauce a little bit. All right, let's take out some of these pastas. I think we'll take it all out. I've just got a bowl. Now, you can absolutely put these into cold water and shock them. It's no problem there. Some will break. That's just welcome to using shells. They're big. And you can still stuff them. But most will stay good. I keep the pasta water around in case my sauce needs a little hydration help. But I'm just going to pull these out. I'm going to give them just a little bit of olive oil, just so they don't stick to each other. And I'm just going to let them naturally cool. Totally up to you. Next up is the filling. So with a good stuffed shell, what's up with the stuffing? So many different cheeses you can go. I really like fromage blanc. If you've ever heard of fromage blanc, a beautiful strained ricotta like this is classic. And we're going to kind of whip in some beautiful flavors to it. But I've got a nice whole milk ricotta. We're going to start with some beautiful herbs. I've got a nice handful of parsley and basil. I'm going to tuck my fingers back and just give this a nice shaving. Now when I do this, it's more of a rock versus a chop. So it's a rock. So all the herbs in. All right. And then we're going to brighten this with some beautiful lemon zest. And I'm going to actually zest the lemon right on the board. I'm going to show you a cool trick to get a little bit more zest out of your zest. So the way I do that is I put my hand open like I'm going to give someone a low five, plop my microplane into it, that right into the board, and I just shave that onto my counter. And I always turn the lemon. So I'm going after new parts of the lemon, just the yellow part, not the white. All right, and then next up, on top of this zest, we're gonna pulverize and smear and make some garlic paste. So I take my Schmidt Brothers knife and I just lay it right on top, smash it as good as I can, right? And these knives can take it. Again, 100% German steel. And I just start to kind of break this down with the lemon zest. And by doing this, you're extending the lemon zest and also the garlic, right? And then once you're at about here, I take some salt and I sprinkle it over the top. And that acts like a bunch of little mini knives, and it helps draw out the moisture and just gives me that much more ability to break down this garlic and lemon zest. And then at this point, I take my knife and I just start smearing. And you can see it has nice flecks. And you can just kind of smear this paste of lemon and garlic. Unbelievable. All right, so that's in there. We're going to crack an egg. Easy peasy. That's just going to help when it cooks in the oven. It's going to help kind of bind everything. Wow, I got 2 eggs. That's good luck. Can we show our 2 yolks?
You got 2 yolks in there?
I got some twins. I love that. That means you got to make this recipe, guys. That happens very rare. And then a bunch of parm, and it's the real parm. All right. Salt, pepper. Salt, pep. Couple good cranks. I like it spicy. And whip this up. And I just kind of move the bowl, fold in the eggs, the herbs. Look at this. Look how stunning this filling looks. It smells so bright. Oh, I want to stuff this in a chicken, a pork chop. I want to make raviolis with this. This is like an everyday classic, gorgeous ricotta filling. Look at that. Is that not beautiful? So I'm just kind of scraping and twisting the bowl, whipping it together, making it nice and light. I'll just kind of hold this up for camera so you guys can kind of see. But really stunning. Look how much herbs there is going in there. You want to overdo the herbs. You got to overdo the herbs. All right. What I'm going to say now is you have 2 options. One, you can open up these shells. And at this point, you can take a little bit of the filling, fit them in there like this. Look how beautiful those look. Herby, stuffed to the brim. I love it. These look killer. Or a great trick is to grab a bag, just like a Ziploc bag like this, put it upside down on your hand like that, put it in a nice big jar, and kind of open it like this. And we're going to grab our spatula. And you can just kind of easily fill this little bag, which will become a piping bag, with your filling. So at this point, I have the filling kind of in the bag like this. Cool. And then a good trick also is to grab a bench scraper and just kind of scrape all of it to one side. And then you kind of pick it up. And you've got a nice little piping bag. And you can kind of just take off the notch. And by the way, guys, part of this dish is getting messy. So please, get messy. I'm just going to fill maybe 2 more of these guys. And I'm kind of just going to the top. But you can overfill them, guys. You really can't mess this dish up. That's the key. So at this point, our sauce has been simmering away for about 20 minutes, which is plenty of time to give it a little taste. So let's just taste for salt. It's beautiful. It needs salt. I'm a chef. Let's be real. All right, and this is the time where I fish out that basil. It's given its love, its life to our sauce, so that's out. And I'm also going to fish out our Parmesan rind. And you can reuse these. I sometimes wash these and reuse them. And I put them in a pot of beans. I put them in a chili. I put them everywhere. I mean, I love infusing anything with the parm rind. So at this point, I like to grab a casserole dish. And just so things don't stick and they're easier to clean, and if you know me, I hate cleaning, I do a little bit of olive oil, and I just kind of rub that into the edges. This also helps get little crispy bits, which is nice. Beautiful. And then I start with just a little bit of sauce in the base. And then put it there, and I start to line up these puppies like little soldiers. Some topple, some stay upright. Don't overthink it. This is home cooking. And then I go with another layer of tomato over the top. And this is where it's very lasagna-y. And I want all that tomato over it. I want it saucy. I want it just dripping with flavor. We have our oven set to 350. How long did we say to bake it for? Will you check the recipe? I don't want to misquote.
It's actually 375
375. So you already did misquote.
for 25 to 30 minutes.
25 to 30 minutes. So at this point, you know, we have some shredded mozzarella cheese. You can go with the fancy stuff, but the shredded stuff really gives you that cheese pull, that Instagram moment, dare I say. So take a nice handful of this and just kind of sprinkle that through. Look at this. Looks so good. Then some fresh parm right over the top. A little bit of olive oil. This is going to help crisp it up. And then some black pepper. Beautiful. So that again takes about 25 minutes. It's imperative that when it comes out, like lasagna, you let it sit. All right, you let it sit. So this is one that we made. Oh my gosh, this looks so good. And it's been sitting and just kind of seizing. It's cheesy. It's delicious. It ain't done yet. That's all I gotta say. You gotta finish with the fresh parm. You have to. So a little bit of fresh parm over the top. Oh my gosh. And let it rain on the fresh parm. Let's just be real. Let it rain. And then a couple other glugs of olive oil just to give it some shine. And this right here, I'm going to kind of tip this to camera. Hopefully you guys can see. It's a little warm still, but stunning. Messy in all the best ways. Don't try and place them perfect in the plate. Just grab a heaping spoonful and get them in there. Yeah, I'm going more. Come on. Let's be real here. This is everything I want all the time. Nice plateful of gorgeous shells. Then I take those shavings of parm and I kind of just drape them over the top. And while it's still warm, they're almost melting. And this right here is a plate worth salivating over. That is home cooking in a bowl. All right. Hardest part of the job. I say that every time. But here we go. I think I need a knife. And I've got a big bear right here. Oh my gosh. As you cut into it, it just kind of bursts open with that ricotta. See if I can get a close-up of that, Michaela. Like that is just stuffed to the brims of ricotta. Mm. Mm. So what's crazy about this is you would think the first sensation you get is the cheese, is the tomato sauce. It's none of that. It's the lemon. It's the lemon in the ricotta. That is the very first thing you taste. And then as you chew it, it almost just falls apart. Like you barely need to chew it because it's like a cream sauce that just disintegrates on your tongue. It's so light. It's not heavy. Although you kind of want it to be heavy because it's like one of those comfort foods, but it's not. Like you feel like you can eat 50 of these. Mm. Oh my gosh. So dangerous. It's like the parm. So dangerous. Everything. You can taste the parm in the sauce. The carrots add the sweetness and then the salty finish of the Parmesan itself. This is going on the rotation. Like unbelievable. Thank you guys so much. We love you. Have a great weekend, and we'll catch you next week for more cooking. See ya. Hey there, I'm Joel Gamoran. I'm the head chef and founder of Homemade, and we launched Homemade with the idea that we want to bring cooking and the kitchen to the world. So if you love cooking and want to join us in one of our free live stream cooking classes, head to our website, homemadecooking.com. That's homemadecooking.com to register today.